Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. I am not Tyler, as
Oh,
you've probably figured out. Tyler had to go do like stuff, help his
is that what you
dad.
call trapping him in your basement and taking the show back? Yikes.
Oh, he's putting a boat in a lake or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Just because his dad's old and doesn't have superpowers and can't pick up his pontoon all by himself. Um,
it's a hard life.
I know. Something
Thankfully,
like that.
Tyler has the superpowers to get the boat into the water.
Shh. You don't want his enemies to know that.
Spilling all the secrets while he's gone.
Um, so yeah, episode 235. That's a lot of episodes.
That is a good amount. We're chugging along.
Yeah, yeah. Copra Round Six later, but we'll start with some news. And I'm gonna start with we've had a couple Cardinals fans in and around the podcast uh, uh, recently. So I want to say that like, well, unfortunately, it ended yesterday. The Cubs just had a 10-game win streak, so you guys can suck it.
Yeah. I have a dog in this fight, that's for
But
sure.
but in checking that out, I also went, wait a minute, every National League Central team has a winning record. How does that work?
It feels like
How did the NL Central become the powerhouse division?
when you say that everyone in this division is winning right now, I'm like, is this like how hedge funds work, but for sports? What is this?
No, no, because they have to play teams from other divisions or the other league. So like 21 and 19 is good for last place in the National League Central. It would be second place in the National League East, which only has one team with a winning record. It
hmm.
would be third place in the National League West, which only has two teams with winning records. If you move over to the American League, it'd be third place in the AL East, which only has two teams with winning records. It would be first place in the AL Central, which only has one team with a winning record. Um, and it would just barely, it'd be a half game back of first place in the AL West, which only has one team with a winning record. So there are more winning records right now in the
Hmm.
National League Central than the entire American League.
Huh. That's certainly a funny way to for things to shake out.
Which like I haven't read any of them, but I've seen a couple of people with articles this week about does the American League just suck? And like I'm suddenly realizing where that article comes from.
There you go. You know, it's
Um, so I might have to go read one. But yeah, I'm always for a 10-game winning streak from my Cubs. I'm always for winning, period, from my Cubs. They're
so
18 and 5 at home this year.
wow, that's really good. Holy
Yeah.
cow. I
Nine and
see.
eight on the road, and they've had some tough road trips. They've already been to both LA and San Diego. LA and
Oh,
San Diego being the two National League West teams that have winning records.
really? Okay, I'd see. I
Right.
My dad hasn't even mentioned that. I'll have to if I see I think I'll probably see him later today because I'm going to say hi to my mom. It's Mother's Day when we're
Right.
recording.
Right.
Um, but yeah, the if the Padres have a winning record, I'm sure he's happy about it.
So I mean it's one of those cases where not only have the Cubs played well, but they haven't just played the dregs.
Hmm.
You know, they've beat
It's a
some
solid
good
schedule.
teams.
All right, there you go. You know,
Um, they've beat up on some bad teams too, but they haven't exclusively uh played bad teams.
nice. They've earned it. They've earned the
Yeah,
record.
they've earned their record. Um, well, for that matter, they've already played the Rays. The Rays have the best record in the AL East.
Could this be the road to another Cubs World Series? Do you think?
I don't like to talk World Series before the playoffs
Okay,
because every round of the playoffs is a coin flip.
I see.
In fact, I am in a minority that I way prefer the regular season to the playoffs in baseball.
Okay.
Um, and for that matter, I would be very much in favor of a shortened playoff.
Hmm.
Not shortened as in less games per series, but like now we've got the World Series, the League Championship Series, the League Division Series, and the Wild Card Series. So we've got 4 rounds of playoffs and like
Wow.
I think 8 or 10 teams that make it to the playoffs,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and then the playoffs are a completely different game
Yeah.
because winning 4 out of 7 is way different than winning 90 out of 162.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that is a hugely different task at hand.
You don't have to make decisions about, okay, what resources am I willing to put into today,
Hmm.
knowing that I have tomorrow and the next day and the day after that 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 and the day after that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah. It's more compressed, like it's over a month or so instead of several months, then it changes decision
Well,
making.
but more importantly, like look at any given season
Hmm.
and every team loses 4 out of 7 at some point.
Yeah.
Every team wins 4 out of 7 at some point.
Hmm.
You know, statistically speaking, if you take the worst major league team and put it up against the best major league team, they're
Hmm.
going to win a 7 game series about 40% of the time.
Hmm. Interesting. That is very
Just
interesting.
just because,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a sport where like you win 2 out of 3, you're
Hmm.
not just going to the playoffs, you're one of the all-time great teams.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's some
I
interesting
mean,
statistical
three,
analysis there.
like 5 out of 9 is a
Hmm.
playoff team.
Wow. Yeah. Holy
Five out
cow.
of 5 out of 9 is a playoff team more years than not. So like it's really, really. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the World Series last year was incredibly exciting. For that matter, the
Hmm.
Championship Series, but it's a very different game.
Yeah.
I think the only game that's more different in its playoffs than baseball is hockey,
Interesting. Okay.
though it's for similar reasons. Uh,
Um,
in hockey, like once you hit the playoffs, you don't want anybody getting hurt. So it becomes a way less physical game. It's
Interesting.
way more about skating and passing. And
Yeah.
ironically, I love playoff hockey and have no interest in the regular season.
Okay. Yeah, I don't need brawls on ice.
Right, right. It just doesn't interest me. But
Yeah.
but like when it's about skating and passing and like
Yeah.
speed and finesse, it's really kind of amazing.
It's similarly, that's why I think I haven't watched very much hockey, but like I've seen a couple of really great games of hockey, and I think they were almost exclusively Olympic games. And it's
Right.
probably a similar reason because like, hey,
I
in the
love women's
Olympics,
hockey too
it
because it
might have
tends to
even
be.
been women's hockey. I
And the
don't remember.
women generally kick the men's ass when they play
Yeah.
each other.
Heck yeah. Yeah, because they're actually trying to play the game and not beat the shit out of each other.
Right. Right. I mean, for that matter, like I've grown to appreciate soccer a lot more since I finally like
Hmm.
Nick Hornby wrote a book on being a soccer fan, and I read everything Nick Hornby does, so I
Oh yeah.
read it
There you go.
and started to understand, and therefore started to watch more. And what I'll
Hmm.
say about playoff hockey is it's soccer faster
Interesting.
and more compact because the soccer feels huge. But
Yeah.
what I like soccer actually can be compared to baseball because it's not. I mean, where it's more like a basketball or hockey game is that there's no stopping very often, but there is like long periods of stuff that if you don't know what's going on can
Hmm.
feel
Yes. Yeah. I have sat through, or at least been around when soccer has been on and looked boring.
right.
So I know
No,
what you
but if
mean.
you do know what's going on, can become
Hmm.
really fascinating.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Especially when, you know, games, a thrilling game can be 0-1 for soccer fans,
Or 0-0.
or even zero. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, a
Kind
thrilling
of like,
draw.
baseball fan will completely appreciate a perfect game. I had a friend who was at Mark Burley's perfect game, and I asked
Uh-huh.
her when she got back to the dorm afterwards, I'm like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, you were. She's like, "It seemed like nothing happened." And I'm like, "Exactly."
That's great. That's so funny.
Um, anyway, in slightly more comic related news, before people start thinking that this is a sports podcast, um, the One Piece, which
Not just a One
spoiler
Piece, the One Piece.
spoiler, I was becalmed again this week, but hopefully not next week. A new anime adaptation will begin on Netflix in February with 7 episodes representing 300 minutes to cover the first 50 chapters of the manga, The East Blue Saga. Phil and I were kind of looking through the promotional videos right now, and like looks like they're trying to be really true to the art style and whatnot, the feel. Um, I'm excited. Um,
Oh yeah,
w-
I definitely watch this,
well,
from
and
the
and like I also wonder if the fact that it's going straight to Netflix,
hmm,
but with a Japanese crew,
yeah,
mean that they're trying to balance kind of American and Japanese sensibilities in cartoons.
I could see that. I mean, I'm always intensely curious how the production deals go down to where
Right.
this is now being billed as a Netflix show, you
Mhm.
know. As well as I mean, I'll definitely agree with you that it looks like I mean, I can tell that this feels like an attempt for new fans of One Piece, you know. Like I don't know how many people have jumped on board after the live action show has come out, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the
Um,
live action show's been really popular.
yeah. So, it's interesting how just as the source material is wrapping up and in its final arc and could be ending at any time now, we're not sure. It seems like the hype around it is amping up more and more, and people are
Well, in
looking
some ways,
for
that's the best way for it to work. I
yeah,
mean, then you
yeah.
don't wind up with the Game of Thrones. Oh, we're out of
Oh yeah.
source material.
Exactly. Yeah, no. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that. That is, I 100% agree. That it's better to go this way than not. But yeah, it's really interesting because especially I think well, I know I've mentioned it to you. I'm pretty sure it's been on air, but my initial reaction to One Piece in eighth grade when I read the first couple volumes was like, I don't know how long they can keep this going. Not really realizing at the time it had already been going on for almost a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's got legs, and I mean this might be the point that gets me hooked on it.
Oh.
I'll definitely check out 7 episodes.
So, yeah. And what kind of week has it been?
Ooh.
You know those voting rights that we thought we had?
Those voting rights that we needed to protect better? You mean those ones?
Yeah.
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 Yikes.
The
Uh,
Supreme Court proved that it's not actually good enough for us to get a trifecta
well, here's
because we can pass a law and they'll just shoot it down.
yeah. Well, the quick thought I had here is could we I wonder I would love to see a statistical analysis of the Supreme Court's decisions to see how many laws they have struck down versus how many they've held up, because I'm thinking between Roe v. Wade and
Well,
this and
it's more complicated than that because they
okay.
absolutely uphold things
Hmm.
uh, that their party likes.
Well, yes, but just trying to
So it
just
all
trying to find
depends on the
out.
case.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to
I
get
mean,
at here is
what is really clear is this is a ridiculously partisan
oh yeah,
Supreme Court.
I just want like an accounting of
And
how much
mind
of
you,
society they've
Sam
destroyed.
Alito is like crying crocodile tears because it's been
Yeah.
suggested that they struck down the the Article 2 of the Voting Rights Act. They haven't struck it down. He insists.
Mm.
They've just interpreted it.
In a
Uh,
way that it doesn't count.
well, no, there are some lawyers that kind of agree with him that
Hmm.
there is still a way for white people to sue to say that districts were made based on race rather than anything else and therefore need to be drawn. So it is possible that he hasn't struck it down but has completely perverted it so that
Hmm.
the only class that can be convincingly argued to be uh hurt by a gerrymander is white people.
Yeah, that's
Those poor white people whose votes don't mean enough.
oh, from crocodile tears to a kangaroo court. This is just it's
Which is
hard.
why,
Yeah, it's hard for me to hear anything like that and
I
not
know that there's
immediately.
argument about
Oh,
whether or not you can effectively run on it.
oh, okay.
But if massive
Hmm.
court reform isn't part of the next Democratic agenda,
Yeah.
like leading off the next Democratic agenda,
Hmm.
it won't matter what laws they pass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sad thing we're seeing, you know. Um, I guess I'm also, now thinking back to a good, 12 years ago, 15 years ago when um Obama was still in office and, just like,
Oh, weren't those the days?
yeah, well, it's, I mean, it's even more so. I'm thinking now of just one of those
Particularly
things of
first
like,
first term Obama.
yeah, and I mean, I,
Those first 2 years, how we
yeah,
squandered them.
and just thinking about like,
But they were
again,
nice. They were both really nice. And like,
hmm
how did we not see the writing on the wall and do
hmm
so much more with those first 2 years?
yeah, yeah,
And I don't blame Obama for that. I think he had too much. I mean,
yeah,
I blame him a little. I think he could have tried harder, but I think he had too much party opposition
mm,
to the
yeah.
idea of just unilaterally doing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's easy to look back and blame one person, but it's I for that era I still land firmly on blame the people who had no morals
Oh,
and were abusing them
yeah.
first and foremost. Um, just because I think of if he did start, you know, doing things unilaterally, how would people have reacted then? You
Right.
know, much more crazily, stuff like that. But yeah, it's
Well, but
certainly.
we're seeing over and over and over again that like
Mhm,
the Democrats have not uh, established any sort of real strategy for hitting back.
yeah. Oh, that's yeah, blatant.
Um,
It is the oppression part or the opposition party looking for handouts as opposed to an actual opposition party.
right. Like and like I get it pains me that we've had to do stuff with redistricting and whatnot. And
Hmm.
like even along those lines, Virginia voted for redistricting and their Supreme Court shot it down on
Hmm.
party lines. Um, like I am not convinced that and I don't care what the polling data is because our polling data like in recent years has like if anything the last 15 years has taught us is that
Hmm.
we don't know how to poll in a digital age.
Yeah, yeah, that's for
Um,
sure.
response rates are so low that like figuring out how to put together the algorithms, et cetera, is nearly impossible. Focus groups often tell us completely different things from polling, and even those,
Mhm.
we don't seem to know how to fully understand them.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, I think one of the big problems is because people aren't looking at it as like a challenge to be understood and optimized. They're looking at them as tactics to win elections, you know?
right, right.
Yeah.
I think like we're long past the time where the correct strategy is to be honest and brutal.
Unfortunately.
I think too often, and like understand, like I am a big believer in the Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. I
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
don't think that saying that you're going to put somebody in prison for committing crimes is going low.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. That shouldn't be going low. And
Right?
and
I don't
appropriately
I don't
prosecuting
think
someone for
saying that
treason,
you're going to impeach a Supreme Court justice for obvious,
blatant bribes.
well, or at the very least obvious inappropriate behavior, etc.,
Yeah.
is going low.
Yeah. Again, yeah, rooting out corruption is not going low. Like that is the
Right.
high road.
I think they need to be going hard and fast, keeping every ounce of this in the news every second they can,
Hmm. Hmm.
and making it clear that yes, we're going to pass some laws, we're going to bring down some prices, but we're also going to hold people accountable.
Yeah.
We might not be
Yeah.
back in our home districts at all during the first 2 years that we're in office, because we might need every minute of every day to either pass laws or hold hearings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anybody
And
who doesn't want that as their job should drop out of the race right now,
absolutely.
because that's what this next term is going to be.
Yeah.
And if the Republicans don't join us, that just means they're going to lose a lot of votes.
Yep.
They
Lose
go
lose
home to
all the votes they
fundraise
can't
on the
steal.
weekends, they're going to lose a lot of votes because we're not adjourning.
Yeah. It'll be, I mean,
The American people deserve our work, and there's a lot of work to do.
that's for sure. It's right now stealing myself against too much optimism, you know? Just
I wish I
but
had
yeah,
optimism.
right. Well, it's
I
funny
mean, I
because
don't
you're
quite have pessimism yet,
yeah.
but my
I mean,
optimism is my hope is not gone, but my
right.
optimism.
Well, I was gonna say your hope is charging my optimism. So, it's hard for me to be optimistic without hope. And honestly, yeah,
I, I,
things
I
haven't
mean, I mean,
hope's been hard to find.
I think that there are real pathways,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think that there are people that are fighting for them. But like,
absolutely. It's hard to maintain when like so again the voting rights being demolished. It's certainly hard to watch. You know, one of our own state senators here in Tennessee kept out of uh, hearings about his own district as they redraw the maps to kick him out. When he's been removed before for just being a presence,
right?
trying to obstruct Republican governance. So it's batshit. It's quite frankly batshit to me to literally redraw the map based off of inaccurate data,
Well,
specifically to
look at
steal
Louisiana.
two
Their
seats.
primary had started, and they
Wow.
paused it.
Oh yeah, no, there was an election apparently the day before, like the election results weren't even ratified, and they're trying to redraw the lines. So it's
Right,
it's they are
right,
scrambling. They are full on scrambling to
right.
maintain power.
Um, and mind you, like the Supreme Court fast tracked their actual, like normally there's like 40 decisions or 40 days between the
Hmm.
it being announced from the bench and
Oh,
like the written decision being handed down and whatnot, and they
uh-huh.
fast tracked that.
They're speed running it. Yeah.
And for that matter, like the Supreme Court required that an illegal map be used in Texas because there wasn't enough time to change it before the election
Oh my God.
2 years ago. But
Oh,
now
right.
southern
This
states
is,
who have illegal maps because they
yep.
allow black people to be counted
Hmm.
are getting to, I mean, it's
Hmm. The largest percent, Memphis is like the largest percent black city in America, and they're being redrawn to silence those people and remove their representation from Congress. So yeah,
yeah.
um,
I mean,
you
that's
know,
it's on par with the fact that Jackson is the capital of Mississippi and almost entirely black and
hmm.
split into like seven different districts, so they don't really have any representation in their own state government.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's beyond fucked up. That is, it's it's just it's one of those things that I I I struggle to find words for beyond, beyond this is fucked up. This shouldn't be happening.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, it's kind of all I can land on is I hope things get better.
I will toss out like people who like their news delivered with comedy.
Hmm.
Saturday Night Live UK's
Oh,
Weekend Update has been nailing it.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah. I think my favorite from this last week was uh in describing the correspondence dinner.
yeah.
They said that President Donald Trump shot himself, and 5 minutes later, shots rang out.
Wow, that's amazing. That's great. That's
Um,
fantastic.
the way that they've treated their prime minister in relation to his Epstein stuff, and he doesn't
Oh,
even have direct Epstein stuff.
I was gonna
He
say,
only he only he only gave a cabinet position to somebody who had Epstein stuff.
right, right.
But the way
Holy
they
shit.
have like
Skewered him over it.
destroyed him.
Please, yeah, yeah. He's a joke. He's a bespeckled fool.
Um, but anyway,
Good to
let's.
hear that Saturday Night Monty Python has the juice.
It's been. I mean, I like it's one of those things that like I saw one write up on it
Hmm.
where it was essentially like this is when we find out whether or not they'll treat it like the US market or like the British market often is
Hmm.
because like nobody knows that the ratings are quite there yet, but the
Yeah.
show is good. So the
Okay.
question is whether it will be given enough rope
Right.
to
You know, can they get six more episodes? That's the question.
right. Um, so yeah, no, but yeah, no, it's available on Peacock in America, and it's a totally worthwhile watch.
All right.
Um, it's always interesting to me just to see, even with countries that are as similar as the U.S. and Britain can be, how there are little quirks and differences in humor and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
You know. Um, But anyway, let's talk some comics. Some new to order this month. Initial orders are due on May 28th. Contact your local comic shops if you are interested in any of the following books. Kick it off, Mr. Phil.
Yeah. First up, we've got Cloven #1, which I will say that this is different from the series of graphic novels illustrated by Matthew Southworth. This is a series from Mad Cave written by Dan Panosian with art from David Ferracci. In the dying days of the American frontier, a young woman journeys into the unknown to claim a legacy she never asked for and may not survive. June Buckley's father was a monster in life. In death, he may be something worse. Summoned alongside a group of treacherous heirs, June is forced to traverse the same brutal path that built her father's empire. But the trail reveals more than hardship. It exposes the rot in every soul traveling beside her. And at the center of it all is Hendio, a creature bound to her father's past, and perhaps to something far older and much more wicked. As the tension simmers and night closes in, June begins to understand. Her inheritance comes at a grisly price. It's going to have a final order cutoff of July 6th in stores, July 29th from Mad Cave.
All righty. Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, The Inside Job, #1. I don't think we've given enough attention to Hank Howard, so I decided that I needed to with this volume. New York Times bestselling writer Robert Venditti and world-renowned comics legend David Lapham join fans forces to deliver a must-read new entry in their striking new vision in the fight against crime. Something's rotten at Big Caligula's Pizza, location number 212, and it's not just last week's mozzarella. Cash chips have fallen off a cliff, and the question on everyone's lips is why? Has service really gone downhill, or is there something or someone more sinister to blame? Corporate smells trouble, and they've called in their best man for the job. Enter Hank Howard, armed with a mind as sharp as a tack, nerves of steel, and an ironclad stomach. Hank's about to dive into a mystery hotter than a fresh baked pie, and his only lead won't talk. Literally, it's the location's mascot, Biggie. The employees who don't don the oversized Roman emperor garb are forbidden from talking in front of customers, ruins the illusion for the kids. Thankfully, Hank's not flying solo. Location number 212 just happens to be the stomping grounds of Hank's old buddy, the pizza crust loving dog, Callie. Together, they'll sniff out clues, chomp down leads, and uncover secrets that could rock the pizza world to its core. These are just like imagine like hard boiled noir set around Pizza Hut.
Oh yeah, I need to read this series.
And
Honestly, it
and
sounds
that's what these
hilarious.
are. Um
Which I've
as
also got to
as
say,
as with many things bad idea, like there were a couple of them that were like backup stories in like season 2 of Bad Idea, and
hmm
then they put out like a hardcover. So I had the hardcover with all of them.
wow, nice.
Which is one of the reasons that I hadn't highlighted them yet because I've read them all. Um,
Well,
and
this is
now they're doing single issues,
okay.
and
Yeah, I feel like we've had Hank Howard Pizza Detective in the solicits for several months going on now.
we
You know, I'm
have
like,
this is I think the third,
it's more than
because
the
they're
third.
generally 2 or 3 issue.
hmm
We had the two Hollywoods
hmm
and Slice of Life
Okay, yeah.
so far.
Okay.
So this is the third different Hank Howard to make it to.
So are these reprints of backup stories? Or
Yes.
okay,
Or well,
okay.
the reprints of backup stories and or stories that were only collected in the hardcover.
Oh, but the hardcover is the complete Hank Howard.
Right.
Okay, it's one of those where I'm like, I'm
Yeah, again, Bad
tempted to
Idea does
shell
some
out.
things weird.
Yeah.
I will also toss out, I'm gonna have to get one of these Hank Howard Slice of Life #2,
hmm
which comes out June 10th, has the world's coolest sketch cover.
Oh,
Let me share this with you so you can see it.
interesting. Okay. Is this like a blank sketch cover or a cover? Oh, okay. I'm seeing this is a cover of a sketch, and yeah, that looks awesome. Um,
It's got the pizza and the Caligula cola and the nearly empty plate and the crumpled up napkin, and it leaves
mhm.
the spot for you to draw in the person eating the pizza.
That's funny. That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you have some real fun with that one. There's like
Yes,
a
yes.
floating piece of pizza ready to go into somebody's mouth.
Exactly. So, yeah. But yeah, so we had to give Hank Howard some love. And then we're going to stick with Bad Idea for Olympus Saga or Megalith the Olympus Saga #0. #1 actually comes out before number zero, but we're going to read
Oh,
about number zero anyway.
that's the traditional method for zero issues.
It is kind of, come to think of it.
Hmm.
Um, New York Times best-selling writer Matt Kint joins forces with powerhouse artists Ramon Villalobos and Jonathan Marks Baravecchia to unleash three earth-shattering origins to the blockbuster Olympus saga. Brace yourself for a wild thrill ride as Special Operative Hawk takes on his deadliest mission yet, recon in Area 23. Deep in the Amazon jungle, zoned off from human contact, it is perhaps the strangest and most dangerous place on the planet. The U.S. military wants control of the zone and is throwing men at the problem. Despite only half of them ever coming out again, join Smythe, the United States government's top clandestine scientist, as she engages in a desperate fight to save Baltimore before it's wiped off the map in this high stakes thriller packed with political intrigue, deceit, and deception. Finally, travel to a hostile alien world in universal language, witness a savage fight for survival, learn the truth behind the fearsome foe at the heart of the Olympus saga, and uncover the secret behind his next target, Earth. Uh, this is the zero issue of the Matt Kint Louis LaRosa uh, uh, mega series. Um,
It's
the
been in the works for a
crazy
while, from what I understand.
the crazy thing they did with issue one of this is every single page of the comic is available as a variant cover.
Oh, interesting.
They,
Certainly an
they,
unconventional idea.
they're with the claim that every page is cover worthy, and they put their money where their mouth is.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Wow.
And like they're beautiful. So
That,
I
yeah,
don't know that I disagree.
yeah. LaRosa is an incredible artist.
Yeah.
He's um known for drawing dinosaurs extremely well.
Yeah.
Um, at least that's what I know
S-
him for.
Yeah. So there you go. What do you got, Phil?
Next up, here is The Patron, number one, from Christian Ward and John J. Pearson, with letters by Hassan Otsmane El Howe and colors by Pearson as well, over at Ignition Press. All the great artists have one thing in common. They're dead. A true patron of the fine arts, Mr. Cherish has dedicated his life to scouting and supporting emerging artists, launching countless unknowns from obscurity into industry superstardom. Unfortunately for these young artists, the secret to Cherish's success is their untimely demise. Nothing makes a work of art more desirable and valuable to collectors than the passing of its creator, and Cherish has refined his ability to orchestrate spectacular tragedies without leaving a trace before selling his dead protege's avoirs for massive profits. Painter Matty Barnes is primed to become Cherish's next hit, but when the script is flipped on the latest murder, a posthumous twist calls the artist's fate and legacy into question, putting the patron's empire in the dueling crosshairs of law enforcement and a merciless third-party connoisseur. Writer Christian Ward and artist John J. Pearson put their own life's work on the page in a highbrow thriller at the bloody intersection of art and commerce. Both creators will contribute a full series of variant covers alongside special incentive cover by number one artist award, yeah, by Eisner Award winning artist Anand R.K. Of Decidium and the Beauty. That's once again from Ignition Press. Going to have a final
That's a
cutoff.
piece of news that I should have remembered. Not
What's that?
just Eisner winning artist Anand RK,
Uh-huh.
Pulitzer winning artist Anand
Um,
RK
there.
just
Okay, yeah.
won this year's Pulitzer
Very nice. All
for,
right.
for
Even more
graphic
prestigious.
journalism. Yeah, yeah.
Heck yeah. Gonna have a final order cutoff of June 15th, on sale July 29th. Once again, coming from Ignition Press.
All righty. Some graphic novels. We're going to start with Katie Skelly and Heaven. Out past the edge of town, there exists a strip club called Heaven that only some can find. Some say it's a mirage. Others say you can't miss the giant neon heels lighting up the desert night skies. Dolly can't find a place to belong. After losing her identity as a gymnast and navigating family turbulence, she's adrift from school and friends when a mysterious presence beckons her to heaven. She wonders if she may just have found her place, but just what does it want in return? Katie Skelly's first graphic novel since her acclaimed Maids in 2020, Heaven finds out what happens when the artist's quintessential cool girl characters let their guards down and let the world in. With the supernatural strip club backdrop and eye popping sense of color that would make Dario Argento proud, Heaven reinforces Skelly's place as one of the most distinctive voices working in contemporary comics today. This is from Fantagraphics Books. Final order cutoff is June 1st, in stores on July 8th. Love me some Katie Skelly.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. Next up, we've got an Iranian metamorphosis from Mana Nayestani. This powerful graphic memoir is essential for those interested in the stories of artistic freedom, resilience, and the ongoing struggle for expression, a struggle that remains deeply relevant amid the current turmoil in Iran. Can a cartoon cause riots? It seems unbelievable, but for Nayestani, it's true. One of his cartoons sparked riots, shuttering the newspaper he worked for, and landed the cartoonist in solitary confinement inside of Iran's notorious prison system. Mana Nayestani's story, which can only be described as Kafkaesque, is vividly brought to life in An Iranian Metamorphosis. Nayestani, born 1973 in Tehran, is an Iranian cartoonist and illustrator for economic, intellectual, political, cultural, and professional magazines. He is particularly known for his work with the newspaper Zan and Persian language radio Zamana. He is the recipient of the Cartoonist Rights Network International Award for Courage in Editorial Cartooning 2010. He now lives in France and remolds the exhausting terrors of his life's worst months into grim comedy. That's going to have a final order cutoff of June 1st, in stores July 1st from Uncivilized Books.
Love me some Uncivilized.
Yeah, they've always a good pick with those
Yeah,
guys.
Tom's great. Uh, are you first in
You're first
our
on the next one.
collections? I am
Yeah,
first. You picked a good one. I'm
I've
going to
heard
go
it's
with
good.
the full scoop collection from Richard Ashley Hamilton, Pablo Andres, and Joseph Cooper. Breaking news: all 4 volumes of Scoop in one beautiful edition that is sure to stop the presses. Sophie Cooper is the newest intern at WMIA 7 News Station, a struggling station based in Miami, Florida. And she's determined to use access to the newsroom's resources to prove her father has been framed for embezzlement. But investigating her father's case soon uncovers some unsettling things about her hometown, like a flying saucer crashed in the Everglades, a chupacabra running wild, a digital doppelganger intent on ruining what's left of Sophie's social life, and a bunker hidden since the 1960s that seemed to be at odds with time itself. Sophie will have to rely on all her truth-seeking skills to solve these mysteries. This is from Mad Cave Books. Final order cutoff is July 6th, in stores on July 29th. You can go back and listen to my conversation with Richard Ashley Hamilton regarding the first volume of this in our archives. I'm going to have to invite him back because he's a cool guy.
Heck yeah. Next up, there is a book I've heard quite a bit about without having read it yet. Wrestle Heist from
So good.
Kyle Starks and Kyle Starks, as well as a Vladimir Popov, a no-holds-barred heist caper packed with body slams and backstabs for fans of over-the-top action. After being crippled by a shady wrestling promoter, a former pro wrestler gathers a team of others wronged in the ring to rob the promoter blind during the biggest wrestling event of the year. From the outrageous action-packed mind of multi-time Eisner nominee Kyle Starks, with eye-popping colors by Vladimir Popov, collects Wrestle Heist number 1 through 5 and a brand new, never before seen 6-page comic story. Can have a final order cutoff of June 1st, in stores July 8th from Image Comics.
All right. final order cutoff for Monday, May 18th. We have Absolute Catwoman #1 from Che Grayson, Scott Snyder, and Bengal at DC in stores on June 10th. Betas from Nick Mondag from Drawn and Quarterly in stores on June 10th. Dispatch #1 from B. Claymore, Daniel Guite at Ignition in stores June 24th. Night City hardcover from Matt Kint and David Lapham from Dark Horse in stores on August 18th. Miss Truesdale and the Rise of Man from Mike Mignola and Jesse Lonergan at Dark Horse in stores on August 18th. Phil, tell us about some crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding, we've got The Forgotten Five from Alex Segura, Sarah Sentry, Pat Kennedy, and Dean Kotz with New Pain Productions on Kickstarter through May 11th. Runaway to the Stars, Jay Eaton with Iron Circus Comics on Kickstarter through May 14th. Stephen Franks, Complete Palomino from Dark Planet Comics on Kickstarter through May 15th. Tad's got an incredible series of conversations with Stefan talking about Palomino as originally
Well, and
recommended.
it's now our book on Pulp Water. The
Oh, there
first
you
one
go.
is out already, and there will be two more.
Excellent. There we go. And then there's The Forgotten Divine from Mark Russell and Russ Brown, along with Ahoy on Kickstarter, which is launching soon, but that's definitely noteworthy. Anything by Mark Russell should be
A-
on the radar.
and I've already discussed it with Mark Russell and Russ Braun and
Heck yeah.
with Tom Pyre and Stuart Moore.
Oh, wow. That's quite a
So
collection of people there.
we've had two separate podcasts in the run up to the Forgotten Divine that should be
Nice.
launching soon.
There we go.
Uh,
What's on Humble Bundle right now?
Humble Bundle Peanuts has been extended until May 14th for the complete collected Peanuts from Fantagraphics, $25 for 43 items to support canine companions. Also extended to May 14th is Strange Romance from Image Comics. 18 items will get you 59 items, including Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, Love Everlasting, Saga, Sex Criminals, and more, all supporting the Book Industry Charitable Foundation. And finally, Terry Moore, $16 for 54 items, supporting the World Central Kitchen through May 14th. The complete Terry Moore. Really, really cool. So, three amazing books. I'm going to start with Matt Rosenberg and his brother Mark, Elijah Rosenberg, with art from Andy McDonald and If Destruction Be Our Lot. Uh, it's kind of a different spin on the Only Robots Are Left story, at least in issue
Hmm.
one.
Interesting.
Because you've got the only the robots are left, but they're all still like performing their purposes.
Hmm. Oh, like doing what they were while they were
Yeah,
people, but just no
there's a
people.
breakfast bot that goes up to other robots and asks them
Hmm.
if they want breakfast.
Interesting.
Like there's one robot that has been like the circuits have been fried a little bit, and so it winds up having a conversation. Yes, but how long has it been since somebody said yes to breakfast? It's like 6,372
Wow.
breakfasts ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Um, so yeah. Dog tag #1 from Mark Russell and PJ Holden at Bad Cave is uh I don't know where the series is going to go because the first issue is about a reporter at I don't know how many if you know your World War II history. I didn't fully know this, but I wasn't surprised by this.
Hmm.
There was like a fake amassing of troops set
Hmm.
up in Dover
Okay.
before D-Day with like
Oh,
inflatable tanks and
I do
paper.
remember hearing about that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so that like, hey, Germany, look over here.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
um
fascinating.
and so the issue is about like the reporter who is there to write the fake stories about it, and like kind of
Hmm.
frustrated that he is doing these fake stories, but he does this great job. And then D-Day happens and it's a success, etc. And he gets called in and told that he was done a great job, and to report for his next assignment. His next assignment is not as a reporter. It's just a Joe uh, in Europe. So he's now being sent into the action, but not to report
Wow.
upon it. And
Wow.
that's where it kind of left off. So spoiler for the
Huh.
end of this issue, but it's why I don't know where it's going. It's Mark Russell. It's PJ Holden. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great. Um,
I think
yeah,
that's part of the surprise at this point is
yeah.
figuring what the heck Mark's going to put you through.
Right, right. And then Batman #9, Matt Fraction fill in art from Ryan Sook. And like when you get Ryan Sook as your fill-in artist, you're like killing it. Uh uh
Is this the
yeah.
second issue that Sook has done for Batman on Frac Bat Fraction yet?
I
Or
think it's only the first. I think we
okay.
just brought it up last week because it was one of the
Yeah.
ones I was looking forward to.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, no, for people who are behind, Vandal Savage is the
Mm.
commissioner of police, and uh um Ivy is the mayor, and
Interesting.
Vandal Savage has sold her on like a massive huge hit. Let's hit all of their safe houses at once, somehow had the information, etc. So this is the issue where like the entire team is trying to save what they can,
Wow.
and stuff happens that sets up multiple events because without getting too deep into it, one of my honorable mentions for books that I'm hoping to be spectacular next week is
Hmm.
Mariko Tamaki's Barbara Gordon Breakout #1,
There you go.
which may have been specifically set up in this issue.
Hmm.
I'm not,
It's like a
not
interconnected universe of some sort going on.
yeah, yeah, I'm so yeah. Astro Quantum was great. Carmen Redclaw continues to be great. Uh, I need to read. I have it. Violet Kitchen's Crawl Space came out this week.
Oh, okay.
I think it's been available indie longer, but it hit comic shops this week.
Gotcha.
Daredevil was great. Hank Howard, Pizza Detective, Slice of Life. Good stuff. So, Phil, take a walk.
Yeah, so uh I had a weird um series of thought connections I'm going to try to relay to you, which is that, on Friday, supposedly uh files about UFOs were released. I haven't looked at them just because
Well, not
they,
supposedly. They
yeah.
were released. They
Sure,
didn't
sure.
necessarily like have any truly noteworthy shit in them.
Yeah, yeah. Hence why it felt like an immediate distraction. Also this week I watched the movie from last year, Begonia,
That's a
which
good movie.
is, oh, it's really incredible. And it hit me pretty hard. One of the points that um minor spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, but I don't know if you remember the police officer that used to be his babysitter.
Right.
Um, it was one of those things, we were watching it and my wife was like, "What are they talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, that cop molested him as a kid, 100%." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah," which is additionally odd because the film Mysterious Skin, which I'm pretty sure was based on, if not true events, then heavily researched on them. It draws a link between those childhood abuse experiences and obsession with alien abduction, feeling alien abduction stories yourself as like one side of a reaction of like massive repression, which then makes it bizarre that it feels like these new UFO files are released as a distraction. Ostensibly, one of the things on social media people are talking about is like, hey, these aren't the files we're looking for. Um, you know. So yeah, so it's really odd to see our own government trying to use alien propaganda to distract people from real pedophilia, you know. And that's where my head's been at this week. It's been rough. It's been a fucked up time to be alive.
Yeah, no, this is where I'll say we'll quickly run through the not read the whole thing, but
Hmm.
run through Heather Cox Richardson from May 8th,
Yeah. I started reading a little bit of that before the show.
which like I will emphasize again to everybody, if you're not already reading Letters from America on a daily basis, you really should be.
Hmm.
Um, she starts with, in case you're wondering what kind of news day it was, Donald J. Trump announced that the Department of War was releasing government files related to alien or extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects. The president posted, "Have fun and enjoy." Uh, It's hard to see the release of this information at this moment as anything more than a distraction from the many stories in the news that show the administration in an unflattering light. The biggest of those stories was not the transportation. Sean Duffy took his family on a 7-month road trip to film a television series called The Great American Road Trip while he was supposed to be doing his job as Secretary of Transportation. It was not a story written by David Farenthold and Luke Broadwater and published at the New York Times that Trump gave a no bid $6.9 million contract to reseal the joints, waterproof, and paint bright blue the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Such contracts are supposed to be put out for bids, but we ignored the process. Oh, and we may have also already destroyed the seals because he took his motorcade out there to look at the stuff. Um, and the contract was for triple the 1.8 million that Trump had promised that the repairs would cost. It was not the story by economist Justin Wolfers in the New York Times explaining the Defense Department's claim that the cost of the war in Iran was costing taxpayers $25 billion was only the price of the Tomahawk and Patriot missiles and airplanes lost and other materials used, does not measure the loss of lives, the disruption in global markets, companies shut down, heightened geopolitical tensions, higher interest rates, lower stock prices, lower economic growth. Iran's new ability to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz to fund its nuclear ambitions, and the new need for countries to increase their military spending. Wolfers notes that the Iraq war cost about $3 trillion and estimates the Iran war will cost hundreds of billions of dollars and very possible trillions. It was also not the article from Jonathan Lemire in The Atlantic that reported that Trump is bored with the war and wants to move on. 5 Trump aides and advisors told Lemire that Trump is convinced he can sell any agreement as a win, but so far Iran is unwilling to bail Trump out of the war he started. It was also not the story from Washington Post. Brianna Sachs and Kevin Crow reporting that under Trump, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, which helps you prepare, respond, and recover from disasters, has been denying aids to states that have Democratic led governments while speeding it to Republican dominated states. It was also not the story by Mark Olalde at ProPublica, reporting that the Trump administration has granted a 2-year pause on compliance with the Clean Air Act to more than 180 facilities. Um, in using a loophole that if the technology to implement the standard is not available and it is in the national security interests of the United States to do so. The authority has never been used before, and other utilities say they are using the pollution controls the administration claims don't exist. Um, yeah. Let's see. What else was it? It was not the story that the Court of International Trade in New York found Trump's 10% global tariffs imposed after the Supreme Court declared Liberation Day tariffs of April 2025 unconstitutional to be illegal. Um, the biggest story of the day was not even the dedication of a 22-foot gold statue of Trump installed at his golf course in Miami
Oh,
that apparently crypto investors paid $450,000 for as a promotional push for their new meme coin. No, the biggest story of the day was after voters in Virginia turned out record numbers to approve a new temporary congressional district map on April 21st. To garner four more seats for Democrats, the Virginia State Supreme Court struck down the referendum. Virginia voters had agreed to the change in order to counter gerrymandering imposed by Republican legislatures in Texas, Ohio, Tennessee, Missouri, North Carolina, and Florida. That is expected to gain them an additional 14 seats across the country. Following last week's Louisiana versus Calais Supreme Court decision, Republicans are hoping to change the lines in Louisiana, Alabama, and South Carolina to take four more. So far, voters in California have agreed to temporary redistricting of California to pick up four Democratic seats there. The court split on partisan lines, saying the process of passing the referendum violated the state's constitution. But let's look at the UFO files.
Yep. And that's why I encourage you to not look at those files, people. Just
Let's look at the UFO
yeah,
files.
yeah. Let's yeah. Let's not worry about it. This is where I would say that to me, uh life being elsewhere in the universe is a mathematical certainty. Um, so any hype around their existence should be met with a, what am I supposed to be excited when the sun comes up every day? Yeah, it's just yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, One Piece
We
race. I mentioned earlier I was becalmed this week, so
I
so
am I am also becalmed.
not yet.
I
We
holding off.
I
I've got
didn't move forward.
Yeah, I've got the last volume and a half of Blue Period that I haven't gotten back to yet. Just, dragging my feet on finding the successor. I think I have a volume of Tower Dungeon at the comic shop next chance I get to it though. So that'll
Cool.
be exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did, however, for a great responsibility, read Copra Round Six.
Naturally.
Continues to be awesome. I
Yeah.
love I loved the fact that they did a one panel per comic catch up
That was pretty cool.
at the beginning here.
That was
That
exciting,
that
yeah.
was that was that was pretty awesome.
Hmm.
Um, this in some ways was like the first big Copra event, was where like all sorts of stuff from previous stuff like
Hmm.
wove back together and
Oh yeah.
at our galaxy wide, you know, the fate of the Earth is at stake.
It certainly did feel like, I mean, you know, I, it's weird because at first I was balking internally a little bit, like, well, can a plucky little indie series have an event? But like this, it did feel like it. It had that.
Well, like in the old school manner,
Mhm,
um, because like we finished up Fourth World, so this week for the yet to be renamed Kirby esque club, and I say Kirby esque because we're not doing Kirby this week. We're
mhm.
starting a 3 month tour of the Kree Skull War. That's absolutely
Mm.
meant.
Yeah,
It was all in 9 issues of Avengers.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's a
So
good point.
it's like the old school type of event
Okay,
where it's like,
this is just a saga, a big story, more so than yeah.
and it's meaningful to the universe only in this case, should the wider universe ever exist,
Sure.
rather than specifically to the,
Hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like you couldn't tell other stories in the Copra universe that didn't have this as, I mean, they wouldn't
Right.
have to include this, but
Hmm.
like the knowledge that we get about some of the origins in this story, the way things turn out, etc., would affect anything else
Oh
in
yeah.
the
And
written in the entire universe.
and it,
Um,
it 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 feels like this is, I mean, it's fascinating that this is basically the prelude to the end of the series. This is the beginning of the final three volumes. And I so here's the thing, I'd be curious to see if you noticed or picked this up on it, that this volume felt a little off to me. Um, because I mean, and the couple of at least artistic signs to it were the digital colors in a few places on a few pages. It felt really out of place just because I had gotten used to seeing Fife's, DIY. Everything felt hand drawn, hand colored. So seeing those bits felt a little off, as well as like at least initially, it felt like most of the paneling was played straightforward, and it took towards the end of the volume to get back some of the like crunchy indie aesthetic that were rampant in the first five volumes. And
Right.
even there was a note in the back that, hey, they briefly were published by Image and then went back to being uh, uh, self-published. And that's something I'm immensely curious about of how and why that decision was made and how that came about. Because I do remember when it started out at Image and I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. And then it disappeared and had to find out, oh, it's because they went back to self-publishing.
Yeah, I gotta only imagine that it wasn't enough more sold to be worth whatever
Oh,
he
yeah.
got from Image versus. I mean, the thing is, when you go through Image, you're then going through Diamond, so you're cutting
Hmm.
down your individual profits versus if you're and
Right.
as somebody who had a pretty substantial like just mailing them out to subscribers, I wonder if it wound up that like after a few issues is like, wait a minute, I'm making less money, not more.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, that would be a question to ask, but I could see that like there's a
Hmm.
certain threshold
Yeah.
where even if you're technically selling more copies, you have to sell a certain amount more copies to make up for the different
Hmm.
people who need to make profit off of it.
Right. Right. Once you're with a full-on distributor as opposed to just
I
distributing yourself.
mean, I think I mentioned this in one of the recent weeks. Kyle Starks was writing about how like he's not really making money on the issues of Wrestle Heist
Oh, interesting.
because they're not selling quite enough to
Hmm.
like I mean like I want to say he said issue 3, he netted like 1,400, but 700 of it was going to go to the colorist
Ooh.
who he paid a page rate to.
Right. 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 Right.
He didn't, but like, as he was trying to figure out what to do next, et cetera, because like he's got less on his schedule right now than he's had in a
Hmm.
while. Like he was kind of breaking down the math and trying to figure out, okay,
Hmm.
like how do I do this? And like one of the comments he made is like, I might have to color my own next series, even though I'm
Wow.
slower than most other colorists and I don't think I do it as well.
Hmm.
I, you know, giving up that much of a slim
Right.
profit.
Yeah, that's tough. That's rough.
um,
That's like I hope that the he's getting effectively subsidized by that Vertigo book.
yeah. Well, and he's got a Patreon. That's where I read all of this, and he's got
Hmm.
hopefully, some of his books still bring residuals as people discover them and buy the back stock, etc.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the Wrestle Heist does better as a graphic novel than it did as a
I would
single issue.
I would think so. He
Uh,
seems like someone who'd have a decent trade waiting audience.
yeah, but I mean, like the comic industry has always been weird because
Hmm.
like the money comes from different places depending on the type of book.
Yeah.
You know, The library market doesn't generally care about single issues that much.
Hmm.
The comic store market, it's hard to have them notice things if they weren't single issues first.
Right. Right.
The bookstore market also doesn't care about single issues, but it's not clear that they're exactly like the library market either.
Yeah.
And they represent the biggest piece of the pie at this point.
Really? Bookstores are still doing the
Book
most sales?
books, I don't know if that includes manga as well in
Mm.
terms of
Oh,
making
okay.
it go that high.
Yeah.
But like Heidi McDonald's last breakdown,
Hmm.
the bookstores were the biggest part of the comic market.
Interesting. That is definitely interesting to hear.
Um, so yeah, comics are weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that is for sure. Um,
That's
you
why
know,
we work on elevating the medium.
right, right.
Because part of the reason that they're weird is nobody really seems to agree on what they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, in terms of like, um,
I mean, nobody agrees on whether they're part of the greater literature.
mhm,
Um, Nobody knows what to do with or agrees on what to do with nonfiction comics, particularly
right,
nonfiction fiction comics that aren't autobio comics.
right. Those are basically, you know, uh, uh, not making too much impact or splash when
I
there's a
mean,
lot of
sometimes
interesting
they
stuff going
do,
on.
but like even librarians are sometimes split on. I mean, even the librarians that
Mhm.
like are big comics supporters are sometimes split as to whether they're a gateway to other literacy or a literacy in and of themselves.
Yeah. Weirdly, when I worked at the library, there were three different comic sections. There was one for the kids, and then there was one for YA teens, and then there was an adult one. And I mean, the YA teens were kind of by themselves, but the kids
Figure
ones,
Deciding where to put books is difficult too,
well, I'm getting to that part. The kids ones and the adult ones were in the nonfiction section for even The Walking Dead. Like everything
right?
was in the nonfiction section because they were art books, and that's where you put things. So you're absolutely right in that
But
people
even
people still don't
decide
know how to.
like what Spider-Man goes in kids and what
Yeah,
Spider-Man goes in adult.
and teen. Yeah, that's also a difficult choice. That's like,
You
okay,
know,
what's a kid's thing versus a teen thing versus,
I mean, and this is I know I've brought it up before. There was nothing that I have enjoyed more
hmm.
in terms of seeing a comic categorization in the last few years than when I was in a Barnes and Noble and
Hmm.
saw March with the U.S. history books.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Um,
But it is like a bit of a what the hell.
because frankly, in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
um, like superhero comics and maybe manga should
Hmm.
be set on their own, but like almost everything else might sell better if they were just in the categories of mystery or sci-fi or literature or
Yeah.
memoir or
Yeah, that is. See, here's the funny thing to me is that while working at the library, I saw so many interesting looking middle grade books that like with really fascinating like
Mhm.
illustrated covers that then weren't graphic
Yeah.
novels and weren't comics, and I was disappointed. So I'm
Yeah, yeah,
only
oh yeah, yeah,
imagine.
yeah. No, I mean the number
Yeah.
of you see that with adult books too, where
Yep.
like you see the cover and you're like, oh, a new comic, and it's like, no,
Uh,
they're selling to comic readers.
right, right. Well, and I'm seeing now in a couple of our solicits that we're getting more and more authors from those other genre
Absolutely.
works adapting their work to comics or trying to
Right,
start
original
working in
comics.
comics. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I mean I dream of a world where comics are just literature.
right. I mean, I like to think, for me
I mean,
personally,
they
I
are
already
their
live in that
own.
world.
Yeah, no, no, no.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean that where
But
where
everyone
where
else.
like I mean they're their own medium, but because they're transmitted in the same way in terms of being on paper, in terms of
Hmm.
sales, it makes so much more sense to market them with prose books like them than to
Yeah.
strictly market them with other comics.
Yeah, I can definitely see stuff stuff outside of superheroes and manga. Like if you're a book that is not cross-pollinating with superheroes and manga, then I think you're right. I think you would do better in
I mean,
whatever section of the
in a
bookstore.
perfect world,
Uh-huh. It'd be
like
in both.
it'd either be in both or each section would have a graphic section.
Right, right. I could see that being really interesting.
So like the
Um,
first section of mystery would be
sure.
the graphic novel mystery.
Yeah, yeah. We got to put them up
The-
front.
Definitely my preference.
Exactly.
Um, they're bigger and like the bigger stuff generally
Yeah.
shelf wise it looks better if it's
Well,
at the start.
I also hope that, I think we've seen over the years some small movement in this direction, but more bigger comic books, you know.
But you also I also think that you need to it would be good to see more where they're not their own separate category of new releases.
Right.
Or if they are, it's the genre category, not the
Not the medium category.
medium category. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I mean, and along those lines, I mean, Copra I mean, they just put out, I think, a one volume of it not too long ago, right?
There are going
Like
to
an
be three of
omnibus.
those.
Oh, three of those. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Of the
Okay.
big hardcover size, kind of like the Saga hardcover size. So I think the
Interesting.
first two are available now, and the third is um that's the Master Collection.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hardcover book one had issues 1 to 12. It came
Hmm.
out. It actually came out originally in November of 2022. I think
Oh.
that was when they were bringing. It was the way to get caught up if you were
Hmm.
jumping into Copra at Image,
Hmm.
and then uh, the Master Collection Book Two is issues 13 to 25, and Copra versus issues 1 and 2, and that'll
Hmm.
be in stores on May 20th of this year. And
Okay.
I think there's a plan for one more that hasn't been
That would
solicited
be, I
yet.
was going to say that third one would be huge then, because they have 8 volumes, and it sounds like those first two only covered volumes 1 through 4, give or take.
Okay, then maybe there'll be two more volumes.
Yeah. But still, regardless,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
definitely
probably
looking at
two more
those.
volumes
Definitely looking at those. That'd be,
because there's 50 total issues of Copra
yeah.
plus the Copra verses.
Mm,
So so yeah, probably two more volumes.
yeah. And I think in between um I think it was between round 5 and 6, FIFA also did Bloodstrike Brutalist, I think it was called.
Yeah,
Um
but that's
it's an image.
non-Copra.
Exactly, yeah, no.
That's a what's his name? That's a Liefeld
It
creation.
is. It is. Well, I was going to say that I read that one, admittedly, despite not really understanding anything about it or what was going on, simply because it was Michael Fife. But I wonder if while doing that, some of the if that kind of shifted his style a little bit,
Yeah.
or I wonder if his thought process was, oh, if I'm going to be at Image, I need to play this a little bit more straight than usual. Because, like I said, it definitely it was it was a distinct shift in visual style to me. Like even though it's still the same guy drawing in the same style, those differences were noticeable enough because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, they stood out for
I can
sure.
see that. But I also wonder how much of that was because because he kind of has like slightly different style issue to issue sometimes, and I think we have less of that this volume because it's all one big arc.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I could see that, you
I
know.
wonder if it's the event style. And yes, I'm not saying that it
Okay.
wouldn't also be influenced by the other work he'd done,
Right, right, right.
by the fact that lots of events wind up in a specific.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of, I mean, I'm thinking of like the issue that like each page was shaped like one letter,
Yeah,
you know. That was certainly an event style issue, you know.
right.
And you're right. I think that this one was different in that it focused more on, you know, the action in the panels than using the shape of the panels to convey things. Um, at least for the most part.
Well, 2 more weeks of Copra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to see how it ends, how it all wraps up.
Some books I hope will be spectacular. First, I'll shout out to Just Brutal #3 from Dennis Hopeless and Bram Revel. It is spectacular. Um, but yeah, what does it take for Absolute Martian Manhunter #11 and Bleeding Hearts #4 to not put Dennis Camp in my one spot?
Wow.
Godzilla versus Texas.
Somebody needs to take Texas down, and Godzilla is exactly the what we need for that job.
That's what it takes.
Yep.
Godzilla versus Texas
There you go.
is in my one spot, followed by Absolute Martian Manhunter #11 / Bleeding Hearts #4 from Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez and Stipin Morian, respectively, at DC and DC Vertigo. And then Dork #4 from Brett Bean at Image are my top three. Barbara Gordon Breakout, Department of Truth, Forged, Free Planet, The Future Is, Innards, Megalith, Showdown, Terabytes, Tigress Island, Undiscovered Country, and Zorro are also coming out this week, as well as What We Mean by Yesterday, Volume 2 from Benjamin Mara, who I might be talking to soon. I'm in talks with
Ooh,
Fantagraphics setting that up.
very exciting.
And the collected Star Trek Red Shirts number or from Volume 1 from Christopher Cantwell and Megan Levins was just a ridiculous book, whether you're a Star Trek fan or not. I won't mention my other collection because it's Phil's all new giant size trade waiter graphic novel pick. Take it
It
away, Philip.
is Cemetery Kids Don't Die, Volume 2, Run Rabbit from Zach Thompson and Daniel Irizarry and colorist Brittany Peer, I do believe, over at Oni Press. Heck yeah, that is the crazy book about the video game system you play in your sleep that is slowly drifting into our own reality. Talked to Zach twice about it. It is really great series. I hope it keeps going. I hope they keep doing as many volumes as they want for this one because it is absolutely fantastic.
All righty. So for 22 panels ish, episode number 235,
Ish episode.
episode, issue. I get them confused. I call TV shows issues and comic
That's
books
great.
episodes.
That's great. I this reminds me one of my little curmudgeon soapboxes is I really hope comics stop referring to volumes as seasons. I don't like that.
Not
It's
a
not.
huge fan of that, but I don't
Yeah,
hate it either because
yeah.
again, anything that makes it feel less like
It
it's
won't
this
stop me.
whole thing.
Right. It won't stop me from reading a book. It won't stop me from enjoying a book, but it is the kind of thing that I
Yeah.
wish we did less of.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of seasons, the new season of The Terror, which is
Oh
actually
yeah, I'm excited for that.
Victor Laval's Devil in Silver,
Uh-huh.
with
Three reasons.
With Chris Cantwell show running. Just kicked off this last
Nice.
Thursday on AMC. First
Yeah.
episode was outstanding. So go take
Stars
a watch of that.
stars Dan Stevens, who played Legion in the TV show Legion.
Yeah,
So that's a triple comic
yeah.
threat. We can showrunner Chris
It's
Crankwell,
it,
source
and
material Victor Lavelle.
well, and just for shits and giggles, it's also got what is it, CCH Pounder and Stephen Root and
Stephen Root's great. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember when you first, I think you first mentioned that and Cantwell announced it. I was like, oh hell yeah, that looks awesome. That sounds
Yeah, no,
fantastic.
this has been a while in the making, and it's finally there.
Nice.
Um,
Don't have to
and-
have seen any of the previous shows because it's
nope,
an anthology, so I'll be jumping
right,
in.
right. I haven't seen any of the previous shows.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's see. Our cast is um, Dan Stevens, Michael Aronoff, B. I didn't know there was an actor named B.
okay. Neither did I.
Philip Edinger. Uh, why is it being rude and not letting me see stuff? Okay. Uh, Hampton Fluker, John Benjamin Hickey, Marin Ireland, Judith Light, Asif Mandvi, CCH Pounder, Stephen Root, Chinaza Uchi, Wani Feliz, Mel Johnson, Celia Keenan Bolger, Larry Marshall, Maureen Sebastian, and Andrea Siglowski, with writers Christopher Cantwell and Victor Laval, directed by
Nice.
Karen Kusama, and available on AMC Plus. And I was very pleased, very pleased.
Were you terrified?
No.
Not yet. Okay, that's good.
So, uh, but I mean, I've read the source material,
Oh, okay.
so I knew some of the stuff to expect.
Nice.
You know. But anyway, 6-7, and we will see you after the next page.